Hello, friends, and welcome back to Stories About Entitled People. As paradoxical as it sounds, some people can't be happy without a reason to be unhappy. They have to have something to complain about, just like the woman in our first story. Lady picks on new guy for double scanning items. Upon inspection, he actually missed an item and her total went up. We have this one regular who likes to pick on new team members. She goes through the newest cashier if she can and always raises a stink until the manager, me, comes by to demolish her. She always leaves grumpy. So why does she keep shopping here? Who friggin' knows? So she goes through Jay's till today. He's been here for 2 weeks and is 1 week fresh on the register. He's doing great and so far has made every effort to understand the register, and he's been pretty independent. He scans through her items, asks about the club card, offers a bag, and announces her total. She then scoffs and says, "How can it be that much?" Jay then jovially tells her that items can add up when you're in the zone and repeats her total. She insists he scanned something twice, and not quite having faced a customer like this before, he calls me over for backup. After listening to her claim, I dutifully check each item's tag with the register's item list to satisfy her paranoid claim, all the while explaining to Jay how to handle a double-scanned item. Wow, what a surprise. Ma'am, nothing was scanned twice. However, it looks like Jay missed an item while scanning. Your new total is up by $15. Cash or card? This woman stared at Jay and I for at least 5 full silent seconds before she started apologizing and saying her English was bad and she didn't understand what we were saying. I explained what happened a couple of different ways, ensuring that there was no conflict of communication, and each time repeated her heightened total. Eventually, she gave up and paid the higher amount. She sulked on out of the store, claiming we always do this crap with her. Sorry, lady, idiot tax is real. P.S. I did discuss with Jay to be a little more careful and steady at cash going forward. Just make sure he doesn't miss any more items, just in case this has been a recurring problem and not a one-off. I have high hopes for him going forward. And our second story. Can I borrow your car? Oh wait, it looks like crap. Let me redecorate. So I have an older brother. He's a narcissist leech with anger management problems that I was always the brunt of. Anyway, so my brother went on an LDS mission, sold the Mustang my parents gave him, see $7,000, and blew all of his money on different crap before he left. So he had nothing when he got back. I was back at my parents' house for the summer from college. I had a pretty sweet gig. My parents were letting me spend the summers there for free on the condition that I worked to save for school and left again in August. I also had the car my parents let me use in high school and later gave to me, which was awesome. It wasn't fancy at all, important later, but it was free. I had it decorated like I liked, also important later, and it got me where I needed to go. All I had to do was pay for gas. So my brother had recently gotten back, age 23. The biggest rift we had was that he wanted to be treated like a hero for going on a mission and expected everyone to drop everything to help him at any point. He was at home for his 6th month and on his 2nd or 3rd job before he finally gave up and started a business doing soccer camps. The biggest problem he had was that he didn't have a car and relied on my mom to take him from place to place to run his camps. She wasn't available one day, so he asked to borrow my car. This annoyed me a lot because he made fun of my car all the time. He's a big fan of nice things and always had nice cars. He routinely called it a piece of crap and made fun of it any time I was tasked with picking him up from where he was. Maybe he was trying to remind me that they bought him a nicer car than they bought me? I don't know, kids got problems. I told him yes, but I have a good reason why. If I'd said no, it would have made it so my mom would have to take off work to go take him. I thought it would have been a huge jerk move to say no, considering the car was hers and she was letting me live at her house for free. So he brings back my car later that day and makes some comment about how crappy my car is when he hands me the keys. I ignored him and go to leave for work to find my steering wheel cover thrown in the back seat and my gas on E. It was a small thing, but those steering wheel covers are hella annoying to take on and off. I asked him what the hell he was thinking, and he said he didn't like the way I had it decorated. Really? You get a free ride to work, complain about my car not being up to your standards, mess with my crap, and leave my gas on empty? The story has a happy ending, though. I pulled my mom aside and told her that I didn't think it was fair that I had to lend the car to someone who didn't respect me at all and refused to pay for gas, and she surprisingly agreed. I assumed she'd just give me gas money under the table to keep the peace. The next time he asked to borrow the car, I said no. He got a stupid smirk on his face and told me he was going to tell our mom. Remember, he's 23 and I'm 20, and threw a huge tantrum when my mom told him to take an Uber. And that's the beginning of the end of my already weak relationship with my brother, and the beginning of the end of me ever living with my parents again.
And our next story. It's not wise to be rude to your ride to the airport. This was around Thanksgiving 2015. My family gets together at a rural-ish cabin. I'd agreed to give my younger sister a ride to the airport on Sunday since she was on a short break from college and had important classes and tests to get back to after Thanksgiving. I'd also agreed to lock up the cabin for my parents since they had to leave on Saturday to get back for pressing work matters. During the post-dinner bull-crapping on Thanksgiving, my sister decided to give me crap about the bad couple of months I'd had. A long-term girlfriend of mine had broken up, and the company I worked for folded. This went beyond normal sibling crap-flinging, including her saying something to the effect of, "Who'd date or hire a worthless failure loser like you anyway? Your girlfriend was probably sleeping with your boss and dumped you both when she learned you were both failures." She was called out on her crude remarks by several family members, but refused to apologize. I seemingly let it slide. I had plenty of emergency funds, had a few job prospects lined up, was hired shortly after, and got a nice salary bump actually, and I was okay with being single. Her vehemence was out of left field though and uncalled for. Sunday morning, I waited for her in the kitchen with a bottle of Jack Daniels. "Hey Heather," I said when she entered the kitchen, "want to apologize for your crappy comments the other night?" She laughed. "What about you being a jerk failure?" "Nope. Let's get going. I have a flight to catch." "Fair enough," I responded, and poured myself a double and knocked it back. "What the F are you doing? I have a plane to catch." "You sure do," I responded, cheerfully. I paused and repeated the pour and slam. "Well, F, it looks like I've had too much to drink to drive. Guess we'll have to wait until you're effing civil, won't we?" She pulled out her phone and screwed with it for a few seconds before I said, "There aren't any cab companies or Ubers around here. I'm your only ride. So you can apologize for being a B, or you can miss your flight." "F you." I grinned and took another shot. In short, I got absolutely crap-faced. She missed her flight, missed some tests, and her GPA plummeted. It was effing hilarious. And our next story. Thieves don't get far. Freshman year of college was the year I met some of the best people I've known. The girls on my floor were, for the most part, super friendly, and we'd all hang out together. One of these girls was DK. We were especially close and were together almost every day through drunken nights and family drama. We had each other's backs. Sadly, she had to leave after freshman year due to family problems, but we stayed in touch, and I'd still visit her at home since we lived near each other. One summer day over my sophomore year, she contacted me saying she needed a place to stay for a week since her mom kicked her out, red flag, and had nowhere to go. She'd do hair until she had the money to get a bus ticket and make it to her friend's house. I agreed to let her crash on the couch. Things were okay at first. We hung out like old times, and she would get groceries, usually stolen, another red flag, for me to cook. I was broke, so having food at all made me happy. Eventually, the week had turned into over a month of her sleeping on the couch and making zero attempts to make money and leave. After some thought, I told her that it had to end. I'm risking my housing by sneaking her in and out every day. The least she could do is try to find a more permanent situation. I gave her a week to find somewhere else and told her I'd drop her off somewhere if she needed. She said okay, and things went on as usual. One morning after a particularly fun party at a friend's house, I checked my bank account to find it was in the negative. I checked the statement and bus ticket had been bought with my card. I called the bank to report the fraud and find that someone also attempted to use my card at the ATM to withdraw money that I'd sent to my mom. Luckily, she'd already withdrawn it. Now I had a feeling it was DK, but I had no proof, and she denied it. Hell, she even tried to help me figure out who it was. About 5 days from when I told her she had to go, we were drunk and on our way out. I give her my phone to log into her Twitter and see if she can find a house party. She forgot to log out, so I go into her DMs and see her messaging someone talking about how she bought bus tickets for her and a boy to go to Jersey, and she's getting dropped at the train station. I'd agreed to drop her off near where the bus was leaving from. Not only did she steal from me, she tried to steal money I sent my mom for bills. I was livid. but I put a mask on and had a good time for the night. I consulted with other friends who all suggested I beat her up. My mom told me no because I didn't need assault charges, but I thought of something legal. The day comes where I'm to drop her off 100 miles away. We're walking to my car with all her belongings when I ask her one last time, "Did you take my card to use?" And again, she denied. So I told her she's a liar and how I'd found the messages. I saw the surprise flash across her face before she started begging. It hurt to lose a friend, but damn it felt good to leave her watching my taillights on the side of the road in a city where she had no friends with everything she owned in a suitcase. Someone she knew had to drive over an hour to get her, and I alerted the bus company to the fraud so she couldn't leave. F her. Later that week, I went to file a report against her, so they put a warrant out for felony fraud charges. I still like to think I beat her up honestly. Turns out she stole my wallet out a back room while we were at a friend's house because stupid broke B shouldn't have left her wallet where it could be taken, as she bragged on Twitter. No good deed goes unpunished.
And our last story. I demolished the cottage and sold the land my ex-wife inherited. Me, 31-year-old male, and my ex-wife, 36-year-old female, finalized our divorce 3 years ago, and she got to keep my apartment in Barcelona. I got a decent payout, since it's Barcelona real estate, and the 2 acres of land she had inherited near the Pyrenees, France. Let's be clear, I did not win that fight. Even with land sale and the payout combined, the apartment is still worth well more than triple that sum. I had a job on the coast where I lived the last 4 years. My ex continued to squat in the cottage for her holidays and getaways, even though she knew I hated it, but I wasn't living there, so the cops weren't going to be useful. My fiancé and I were sick of living in town. We'd been talking about moving into forest isolation for ages, and the lockdown was the last straw. I told my ex I was moving to the cottages to collect what she had left behind and say her final goodbyes. The cottage wasn't suited for my fiancé's needs, and we needed more land to grow and build everything we wanted, so we found a bigger plot, and I sold mine to pay for it. The buyer offered more than asking price, but he wanted no infrastructure on it. Easy money. I demolished and removed everything ASAP. Edit, we sold fast because we wanted to buy fast before the others could. My ex went there a while ago and found the land fenced off, no cottage, and landscaping being redone. She was distraught, felt betrayed, heartbroken that I sold, and to someone who nuked it all. She said I should have asked her opinion on the buyer or found alternatives to selling, as she had a deep emotional attachment to the land, and many plants were there thanks to her family and herself. I agreed that I should have told her I sold, but not with the rest. I could have asked her if she wanted to buy it, but when she saw what it had sold for, she confessed she would have refused to buy it for more than her grandfather did, and money isn't everything. Heritage matters. I was not about to argue with that level of delusion and hypocrisy, so I stayed silent and let her vent. It's been weeks and my ex still cries about it. Maybe I should have given her a chance to fight for it. Saying that, I didn't want to have to deal with her theatrics or have her putting off buyers. I have no regrets. I bought what my fiancé and I wanted, and if my ex was so set on the land and it was her safe house, she should have negotiated better. She chose to keep my inheritance in exchange for hers. I think she needs to suck up the consequences of her decisions and start understanding what it means to be an ex-wife. So yes, I should have told her I was selling. Who I sold to was legally none of her concern. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.